A new State of Play event has been officially confirmed and it'll be happening ahead of the Game Awards, so some major announcements are coming very soon. A major remaster collection that's a little bit out of left field has been announced with the Bayonetta and Vanquish remastered bundle. That'll be out relatively soon in February of 2020, but I am very excited for this and you guys should be too. We'll go over that. Before you guys watch this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and do hit the bell notification button as well so you'll be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. With that being said, on to this video. But first off, as it was rumored, a brand new State of Play event has been confirmed and it'll be airing live Tuesday, December 10th. We talked about it yesterday, but now it's been officially confirmed through the PlayStation blog. The PlayStation blog post notes, tune into 2019's final episode at 6 a.m. Pacific time, so very, very early. That's 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern for new announcements and updates. And it notes the year is almost over, but we've got one more State of Play to share with you. It airs Tuesday, December 10th at 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And you can watch live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We've got around 20 minutes of new game reveals, release date announcements, new gameplay footage, PlayStation Worldwide Studios updates, and more. And it did conclude by saying, and it probably bears repeating, don't expect any updates related to our next-gen plans in this episode. That seems to be a copy and paste for all of the State of Play posts on the PlayStation blog, just so they can circumvent any sort of hype like that, although people might just ascertain that this is just an indication that there might be some next-gen announcements. They're trying to, throw some smoke screen or whatever the case may be. No, in this case, there's really gonna be no next-gen announcements. We'll hear about that in early 2020, so you're not gonna be hearing about next-gen in this State of Play. However, you probably will be hearing about Resident Evil 3 as that just got leaked. I imagine we'll see some smaller titles. I would not expect any major gameplay reveals in terms of Sony's first party, just because the majority of the first party studios like Guerrilla, Santa Monica, and Insomniac, they're all working on PlayStation 5 titles, so that's what I would expect out of them. And obviously, they're not going to be doing any PS5 stuff at this State of Play, so why announce any games like that? However, I could see some third-party games being shown off, new gameplay footage of games like that, release date announcements, maybe some sort of DLC, smaller titles, things like that. Maybe a game at the level of a Concrete Genie or a Medieval remake, a smaller title like that, I think is something that is very likely. Maybe some sort of VR stuff, given that Iron Man VR is still on the horizon. Because while the upper echelon of Sony's first party are definitely working on PlayStation 5 games outside of titles like Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, there are a bunch of other studios that Sony has under their umbrella and various third-party partners that I would expect to see games coming out of them as State of Play airs live Tuesday, December 10th. Again, if you want to watch it live, make sure you set your alarm as it is going to be 6 a.m. Pacific and 9 a.m. Eastern. For some of you guys overseas, depending on how your time zone works out, this might actually give you a chance to see State of Play in a more timely fashion, given that other times it was kind of all over the place in terms of airing State of Play overseas, but this will be happening before the Game Awards, so that week in general, with State of Play followed up by the Game Awards, it is going to be a busy, busy week for new announcements, and we'll keep you guys posted on all of that. Here's a brand new announcement that has been leaked. That is the Bayonetta and Vanquish remaster bundle. Chalk that up for remaster collections that I was not expecting, however, I'm very excited for, and that is seemingly something that we see relatively often. I mean, we get remasters announced and revealed at times that I don't see coming, however, I get very excited for them. And the Microsoft Store has listed a very cool one here with the Bayonetta and Vanquish 10th anniversary bundle, and that was listed only for Xbox One, but chances are it'll be released on PS4 as well. I mean, these are Sega games, they're third-party titles. I would not worry about these games not showing up on PlayStation. And if you're wondering if this release is just out of nowhere, well, it does note that it is the 10th anniversary bundle. And yes, both Bayonetta and Vanquish come 2020 would have been released 10 years ago. Bayonetta actually dropped in, I believe, the first week of January in 2010. I think the release date was like January 4th or January 5th, something like that. And then Vanquish followed up with a release a few months later. I think that was an April or May release. Both of these games were received very well. Bayonetta was definitely the more commercial-oriented success. Vanquish was a great game, and I absolutely loved Vanquish. However, that was a game that was really held back, probably due to the fact that it was like a 4 to 5 hour game, and it was still a full $60. Bayonetta, it's not like that was a content-plentiful game. However, it seemingly did better from a commercial standpoint, as of course, there were follow-up titles spawned with Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3. However, the development of those games were helped out by Nintendo, so you have to factor that in as well. However, whatever the case may be, Just know that Bayonetta and Vanquish is getting a remastered collection, a 10th anniversary bundle, and it notes, commemorate the 10th anniversary of Platinum Games' two most celebrated titles with the Bayonetta and Vanquish remastered dual pack 4K graphics available at 60 frames per second on Xbox One X. Now, this was leaked on the Microsoft Store, and it notes 4K and 60 FPS on the Xbox One X, so fingers crossed that that'll be the case on the PlayStation 4 Pro as well. No confirmation on that yet, but I would imagine that the PS4 Pro could push a game like Bayonetta at 4K and 60 FPS. I mean, again, these games are a decade old on last-gen platforms, so let's hope that is the case. And it notes, experience the genesis of the Bayonetta series with the original action-adventure. Take advantage of Bayonetta's arsenal of skills to hack, slash, and open fire upon hordes of celestial foes. And then as far as Vanquish is concerned, it notes, play a space soldier Sam Gideon in the hit sci-fi shooter Vanquish. Equipped with Blade, the experimental weapon system that can scan and copy existing weapons, he must infiltrate conquered space colony Providence and defeat legions of future tech enemies. And Vanquish was a game that had a very, very corny narrative. I have to say that right away. Vanquish is a game that you could even play on mute. I wouldn't necessarily say that because some of the sound effects are quite nice, the music is decent. However, the voice acting and the story, absolute thumbs down on that, and it's so bad that at some points it is a little bit comical. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on it, but Vanquish, that is the kind of game where the standout is absolutely the gameplay. And these are also two Platinum Games titles, so they also have similarities on that end. And being that they're both Platinum Games titles, definitely the trademark high-octane, fast-paced, action-oriented gameplay that Platinum is known and loved for is present here. It also looks like the games will be available separately, so if you do want to pick up just Bayonetta or Vanquish, it looks like you will be able to get them separately come February 18th. However, I would highly recommend to check out both of them. Even if you did play them in the past, these are games that are very much worth revisiting. I've played through both of these games multiple times, and these are games that every couple of years, if you just want a no-nonsense action-oriented title, they're very, very easy to pop in and play. As far as follow-up titles to both of these games, I mean, Bayonetta has already had Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3. Unfortunately, those games are exclusive to Nintendo platforms. In the case of Bayonetta 3, that's not even out yet. But you get the idea. I doubt that those titles will ever be released on other platforms. That's a little bit of a bummer, but hey, if Nintendo's making those games come to life and helping them happen in the first place, then I can understand them wanting to keep them exclusives. In the case of Vanquish, I mean, if the remastered title sells well, then the opportunity for a follow-up title is always there. We've seen in the past that these remasters are somewhat of a gauge to see how the franchise would do in the future. We've seen remasters come out, and then we've seen shortly thereafter games of that IP also come back. We've seen it with games like Darksiders, we've seen it with games like Mega Man, where remastered collections of Mega Man were released and then there was a reinvigorated interest in Mega Man for Capcom. I imagine that those things are associated, and things like remasters do work as a pretty good feeler just to see how the general reception for a game like this would be. Obviously, I don't imagine that Sega or anyone is expecting these games to sell very, very well, north of multiple millions of copies. However, if they come out and there is a little bit of a clamoring for Vanquish, if more people check it out, if it does relatively well, then it does definitely open the door for more games to happen in the future. I don't want to get people excited about the idea of a Vanquish 2, but I know that's something I would definitely love to see. In the case of Bayonetta, again, I highly doubt we'll see a follow-up title to that come to the PlayStation 4 just because Nintendo is publishing Bayonetta 2 and 3, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but hey, that's a reason to buy the Nintendo Switch, given that Bayonetta 2 is a phenomenal game, and having that on the Nintendo Switch is pretty excellent, and I'm sure Bayonetta 3 is going to be a great game as well. As far as pricing for this, I imagine that the collection would be $40. I think it would be hard-pressed to price it anything more than that. Bayonetta and Vanquish were both ported to PC, and they were both released at $19.99 a pop, so $19.99 a pop on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One would also be what I would expect. You can't go over the top with this. You can't bundle a collection like this and charge $60 for it. I really think that would be too much. And again, these are games that are generally just a little bit shorter. Bayonetta, while maybe a little bit lengthier, not by much, and Vanquish, again, the main problem with that game was that it was so freaking short. I completed that game in like 4 hours, and sure, you can play at a harder difficulty or whatever the case may be, but it's not like that game has a ton of content where a 10-year-old game does warrant spending $30 or $40. Vanquish, at this point on PC, you can get it south of $10 easily, and the same can be said for Bayonetta, so the pricing has to be in line with these two titles if they are expected to sell well, and I think ultimately Sega will get that element right. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, a brand new State of Play event is gonna be airing on Tuesday, December 10th. Have your alarm clock ready, 6 a.m. Pacific and 9 a.m. Eastern if you do want to watch that live. And Bayonetta and Vanquish are getting remastered onto the PlayStation 4. That'll be coming February 18th. Very much excited for that and to see the future of both of those franchises. If Vanquish has any kind of future, let's have our fingers crossed. That's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.